Okay, let's have a look at the questions on the homework for part 1 of homework 11. Now, in both of these cases, I think the ideal would be to try to do as much before you start assuming as you can. And there is quite a lot you can do. So, for example, with this one, of course, you can do bicon. And after that, you can simplify. But do bicon and don't simplify yet until you know what will be useful. With this one, you can do imp. Now remember, I gave you 3 rules for using imp to convert between a conjunction and a conditional. And they are, number 1, change the ampersand to an arrow. Number 2, negate the one on the right. And number 3, negate the whole thing, which of course would get rid of this tilde on the outside there. The other thing you can do is do De Morgan's law to this whole thing, which is going to mean that you get rid of the square brackets, you put a tilde in front of both of these things in curvy parentheses, and then the or becomes an and. Then you can simplify both of those. And you can do imp to both of those, just as you've done with that. Once you do that, you're going to want to look for B. And of course, B shows up there. Now, you want B to be in front. If you start assuming B because you're going to do conditional proof, then you still want B to be in front so that you can do modus ponens. So you want to change the order of this, either before or after you do imp. If you change it before you do imp, then because this is an ampersand, you can just switch the order by commutation. If it's after you've done imp, then you will want to do contraposition, and of course remember to negate both of them. Okay, once you've done that, I think you will see that there's kind of a domino chain effect. You go B goes to A goes to, it could be not A, or it could be A or not A goes to C or not C or not C goes to D or not D or not D goes to E, and you will eventually get B through E. Okay, so those are my hints for the first question. For the second question, obviously this isn't going to be a conditional proof because it's just a single letter for the conclusion. Would it be a good idea to do reductio ad absurdum then? Well, the trouble is, if you do reductio ad absurdum, you're going to be assuming not x, and that's not going to immediately be useful to you because x is buried within there. So again, you probably want to do as many things as you can before you assume anything. One thing you can do is you can simplify this, and you can simplify this, and then you will notice you have 2 things where the antecedent is S. I mean, you have something where the antecedent is S, and you'll have S, something where the antecedent is T, and you have T. The next thing to notice is that you could do modus tollens to this if you had not Q or R. Think about what is equivalent to not Q or R by De Morgan's law. Then when you have not P, well, P is here. If you did exportation to this whole thing, then you would have something then P, and then you would have not P, having done modus tollens to get it, and then you could get the negation of that whole thing. Finally, something worth noting is that at some point you will have not W or S or something that you want. To get the something that you want, you would need the negation of W or S, which of course, the negation of not W or S, which is just W or S. And try and think about how you can get that. And here's a hint. Okay, I think that's enough hints for those 2 questions. Try and finish them before class on Tuesday, because we won't have much time to talk about them.